You know that feeling when a story just gets you? Like it was written specifically for you, and it totally changes the way you see things? Well, what if I told you that's not just a feeling? Today, we're going to dive into this wild idea that you don't just read a story, you actually help bring it to life.
So let's start with a really basic question. Is a book just, words on a page, a finished thing that just sits there waiting for us? Well, a philosopher named Wolfgang Iser would say, no way. He thought something way more exciting was going on.
So here's how we're going to break down his whole theory. First, we'll look at a story's two poles. Then, we'll see how you become a co-creator. After that, we'll meet this kind of mysterious character called the implied reader. We'll look at what reading actually is, and then we'll see why this whole idea might just change how you look at stories forever.
All right, first up, a story's two poles. This is the absolute foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. It's all about where the author's work stops and where your work begins.
So, Iser said that every story has two sides. On one hand, you've got the artistic pole. Think of this like the author's blueprint. It's the words on the page, the plot, the characters they wrote down. But then, there's the aesthetic pole. And this side, this is all you. It's your experience, your emotions, the meaning you draw from it.
And here is the absolute key. The real story isn't just the text, and it's not just what's happening in your head either. Iser believed the real magic happens right in the middle. The actual literary work only sparks into existence when the author's words meet your imagination.
And that leads us to this next big idea. Because if the story lives in that middle space, it means you're not just a passive audience member. Not at all. You're actually a builder. You're a co-creator.
So how does that work? Well, it brings us to this really cool concept Iser called gaps. See, he argued that no story can ever tell you everything. Authors, on purpose, leave things out. Details, what a character is thinking, what happens after the last page. But these aren't plot holes. They are invitations for you to step in, to connect the dots and fill in those spaces with your own imagination.
And this really gets to the heart of it. Reading isn't passive consumption. It is an active, dynamic, creative process. It is you, the reader, who takes those static words on the page and brings them to life, letting the whole thing unfold.
Okay, so if the text is designed with these gaps that you're supposed to fill, who does the author think is doing all that work? Well, this leads us to Iser's most famous and maybe most mind-bending idea, the implied reader.
Okay, stick with me because this one's a biggie. The implied reader is not a real person. It's not you, it's not me. Think of it more like a role that the book asks you to play. It's a set of instructions and expectations woven right into the fabric of the story, kind of like a ghost in the machine that's guiding you on how to make sense of it all.
So, let's just make this super clear. 1, it is not a real person. 2, it exists only within the structure of the text itself. And 3, it is the part you're invited to perform. So, for example, to really enjoy a Sherlock Holmes story, you have to adopt the role of a detective, right? You have to be looking for clues and trying to solve the puzzle, because that's the role the book needs you to play.
So we have the two poles, we have the gaps, and we know about this role we're being asked to play. So how does this all come together when we're, just reading? It turns out it's this incredible moment of convergence.
The actual meaning of a story doesn't live in any single one of these places. Instead, it's generated when all these different viewpoints crash into each other inside your mind. What the narrator is telling you, what the characters are going through, how the plot twists and turns, and that role of the implied reader you're playing. The meaning? It happens right there, in that beautiful, messy intersection.
And Iser said this creates this really interesting tension inside of us. It's this constant pull between your actual self, with all your own experiences and beliefs, and the self that the book is asking you to become to understand it. And navigating that tension, that's how we make sense of it all.
So what's the big takeaway here? Why does this change how we should look at every story we ever come across, whether it's a book, a movie, or even a video game?
Well, it really boils down to this. Reading isn't just consuming something, it's an act of creation. A story isn't some static object on a shelf, it's a dynamic event that only happens when you show up. And maybe most importantly, it means that you, with your specific mind and your unique imagination, are an absolutely essential part of the art itself. The story is literally incomplete without you.
So the next time you get totally lost in a story, just ask yourself, what gaps am I filling in right now? What part am I playing? Who is this story asking me to be? Because that answer, that might just be the most interesting part of the entire story.